2.5 years in a colony settlement for refusing to fight against Ukraine. For such a period, a military court in Kamchatka sentenced a serviceman whose name is not called. In May, he, while in one of the units in Petropavlovsk-Kamchatsky, refused to participate in hostilities. In the same month, the same court sentenced 2 more servicemen who also refused to participate in the war to 2.5 years in a colony settlement, Radio Liberty writes. Russia has already adopted a number of laws that practically deprive a person of choice.
Закон этот принят в первую очередь с целью устрашения, с целью
The law was adopted primarily to intimidate those who do not want to participate in the war, to give them the impression that it cannot be avoided in any way absolutely. Here is a fine, here is imprisonment, here cannot drive a car, and an apartment cannot be rented or sell. Nothing can be done. I will probably go to the military enlistment office by summons.
Those who oppose the war that Putin started against Ukraine are also being punished in Russia. Entrepreneur Dmitry Skurihin from the Leningrad region was sentenced to 1.5 years in prison in a penal colony in the case of repeated discrediting of the Russian army. The Politzekinfo Telegram channel writes that before the verdict the man was under house arrest. He was taken into custody in the courtroom, and now he is in a pre-trial detention center. He was tried because of anti-war posters on the facade of his shop and a picket with a poster "Sorry Ukraine." Also in Russia, cases have become more frequent when objectionable people are sent for compulsory treatment in a psychiatric hospital. Punitive psychiatry is used as in the days of the USSR.
Да, советские методики, все методички достали из архивов.
Yes, all the manuals, all the Soviet ones, were taken from the archives of the special services. Punitive psychiatry, this is absolutely not know-how for the Russian Federation. This is all from the Soviet past. It came for what this is all done to discredit the anti-war movement. Well, who else can oppose Putin? Only crazy, look, he was taken to the psychiatric hospital.
For example, the Babushkinsky District Court of Moscow ruled that eco-activist Olga Kuzmina be given compulsory treatment in a psychiatric clinic. The reason is her actions against renovation and cutting down trees. Info, referring to the girl's lawyer, writes that Kuzmina is charged with an article of hooliganism. The investigation sees the corpus delicti in the fact that she climbed on a tree and tied herself to it, taking with her a crossbow unsuitable for shooting. The representative of the prosecution asked to release Kuzmina from criminal liability and, I quote, to apply medical measures to her in a specialized hospital.
In July 2022, Olga Kuzmina was forcibly admitted to a psychiatric hospital for a week for an examination. By that time, the decision to conduct an examination had not yet entered into force. In conclusion, the doctors indicated that in the character of the girl, they revealed willfulness, mostly oppositional negative behavior, a tendency on agitation to end protest reactions. From an article of the Oppositionists resource.
The Kremlin is also taking control over the personal data of Russians. The Roskomsvoboda organization drew attention to the fact that the Russian government decided to supplement the law on personal data. The new article introduces a special procedure for processing personal data of the so-called certain categories of persons. The president will determine what kind of persons they are, and the government will approve the procedure for processing their personal data. Also, the draft law submitted to the State Duma gives the security forces the right to access the databases of certain groups of people in order to clarify, change, block, delete or restore them. Reported by Serhiy Kulios, Angelika Brushnevska, UATV News.